We feel that our friendship with Melbourne over the transfer to the Melbourne Cricket Ground is such that we would not under any circumstances approach one of the Melbourne people behind their back.
Well, friendship doesn't come into this now, does it?
Well, I haven't discussed the matter with Norman on that point at all. If he were available and if Melbourne were quite happy, and of course if we wanted a new coach next season, naturally we would consider Norm Smith very strongly indeed.
Well, you would have a vacancy, would you not? Because Jack Titus has declared that he will only coach the side for this year.
Well, when Jack took over from Len Smith, he did say that he would only coach for this year, but we would not do anything behind Jack's back in view of the very splendid service he's given us and in view of the great job he's done while Len Smith's been away through his illness.
Do you think that you would be able to afford Norm Smith?
Oh yes, I think our transfer to the Melbourne Cricket Ground has ensured that our financial stability will be such that we can afford him all right.
And if he was available to the Richmond club and all things being equal in other directions, an approach would be made?
Well, I don't know. That depends entirely upon the views of our selectors and particularly upon what Jack Titus wants to do next year. We have not discussed the coaching position for next year yet. And I want to make one thing very clear. There's been some talk about the fact that we are seeking the services of Norman Smith. Well, I suppose any club would seek the services of Norm if the circumstances warranted the position. But I want to point out that in the early part of this season, we could have had the services of Ron Barassi, I feel certain, because the first approaches in the matter were made to our club. But I personally spoke to one of the Melbourne Football Club selectors. They told me that probably if an approach was made, Barassi might be cleared, but that they wouldn't welcome such an approach. And for that reason, I immediately instructed our secretary to discontinue any discussions whatever with Ron Barassi. The same applies with Norm Smith. We would not under any circumstances go behind the Melbourne Football Club's back. That's our very strong position in these matters.